Hello everybody, it's the Historical Gamer once again, and today we're returning to Strategic Command World War II, World at War. It is August 23rd of 1946, and our Axis Let's Play. The Germans are well on the way to conquering England, London has fallen, and the drive north on the secondary capital at Manchester is well underway, having destroyed an American armored unit, actually I think two American armored units, an American infantry unit to the west of Norwich, another American infantry unit to the northwest of Cardiff last turn, and a British unit for good measure, as well as some tactical air units and whatnot. So, long-winded way of saying we are driving north, and we are doing so to great devastation of the Allied forces as we approach the secondary British capital at Manchester. Meanwhile, the invasion of Australia is well underway as well. The Japanese are driving deep into the heartland of Australia, having taken Daly Waters, taking Alice Springs, and now approaching Port Auguste on the southern coast of Australia. Ironically, Port Auguste is not a port in this game. We're also driving into central Australia on the way toward Long Reach, both in an effort to drive to our southern landing force near Sydney, linking up with them, cutting Australia in two. We have largely ignored the Australian coastline at Cairns and Townsville, mainly because my assumption is there are strong Allied forces there. So we've left blocking forces at Normanton and a Marine unit here to the east of Mount Isa, both with the objective of preventing any surprise attack into our flank, but both also perhaps under strength to do their job. We'll see. We're relying heavily on large numbers of air power in Australia, although our supply lines are a bit dubious, and this turn probably will be a bit of a slowdown as we attempt to get our headquarters units further to the front to close in with the advanced elements. That being said, we've done our recent turns, so we did all of that, and we also destroyed 2 American carriers and 3 American cruisers off the coast of Japan last turn. There's still a few American units left over. They may be able to destroy one of our carriers as well if they get in on this carrier here, the Taiho to the south. But nonetheless, a large American fleet was destroyed there. Another American fleet carrier was destroyed in the Channel. And that's just a long-winded way of me saying it was a bad day for the American Navy, which 2 turns ago had 30 units and now has lost over a third of its strength in just the last few days. That being said, India's fallen, Germany's advancing deep into Africa, and that's probably a good enough summary of where we're at here so you guys aren't bored with the same intro every single time. Let's go ahead and move forward into the September turn. We have 9 turns left in the game. I've got an Italian destroyer moving toward the Atlantic, but I've decided to hold it in the Mediterranean until such a time as we are able to reinforce a couple of other Italian destroyers. Japan's developing ASW Warfare Level 2, Amphibious Warfare Level 3. We've got forces blocking the port at Brisbane to reduce the supply of the American unit there, although they are on a rail line, so they can still draw supplies from elsewhere. I'm not sure if America has any headquarters units in Australia. If they don't, that's going to be a major detriment to their efficiency. But so far, all the units we've fought in Australia, with the exception of the one in the south near Canberra, have either been losing troops to attrition or have been really struggling with supply, which has been causing them to largely be ineffective and easily destroyed. So that may indicate that if they do have a headquarters unit, it's way in the south and not anywhere that it can actually support their objectives. Meanwhile, we're about to lose a Japanese transport here in the open sea in Java. There was a Japanese army on board. We ran into a couple of American subs, unfortunately. Meanwhile, we're doing a little bit better against the American submarines here this turn, and that may be because we just developed ASW2 level tech, although I'm not sure if I have to upgrade ships for that or not. I'll have to double-check this turn as we get into our actual turn phase to see what we need to do there. Not sure why American bombers in England are bombing Norway, as if bombing mines or economic targets will have any impact to the invasion of England itself. You probably should focus on either the ports that are feeding the invasion or something else, I don't know, because that seems like a waste of very good resources that could be leveraged in a meaningful way. Meanwhile, some air action going on, some counterattacks here in England. You can see the British moved a corps forward here to counterattack some infantry of ours between Cambridge and Birmingham. That attack failed. We inflicted 1 loss on them. They inflicted 0 on us. Some reinforcements, moving an army to the north of Birmingham. Another American army here showing up near Canberra, near the capital in Australia. That's why we need to get those other troops in northern Australia down to the south so they can help lend a hand, because we do not have a very strong force in and around Sydney. We may have taken the Australian port of Sydney, but our opportunity to take the capital with that force is past. Really, our only opportunity was a blitzkrieg, and we failed to deliver on that. Americans are moving some naval units in around the Japanese islands, but I think they're mostly just destroyers. Again, I mentioned this in the last video, but there seems to be a scripted event for the Americans in late 45 where they just start sending naval assets to Japan, whether they have any intent of invading or any actual resources to invade or not. All right, so Turkey joins the Axis. They started pivoting toward his last turn, so Turkey has come on board. I'm not sure they have much of anything to help us out, but or what the impact will really be, considering we already have the entire North African coast, all of the Middle East. We're driving deep into Africa, and we've already taken France and Russia. I'm not sure what exactly they'll lend to our side. Indian National Army troop transfer. Oh, that's ironic. The Japanese unit that was destroyed was actually an event unit of Indians that were anti-colonial that rose up to fight for us, and they died in transports. Sorry for them. Turkey's joining the Axis. Okay. Some intelligence here. Germany gets a bunch of new army units. Actually, quite a few of them. Deploying them to Germany proper, I think. Unless... Is there any reason for us to deploy them north? I guess we could deploy them to Murmansk. I do want to destroy that American unit, or that British unit near Narvik. Would be great to do. Were any of these units actually Finnish? Oh, they were all German. Okay. We can't really do anything against the British at Narvik. We can kind of slowly whittle them down. We've been trying to anyway. We've been losing casualties because our own supply situation there is very poor, just like theirs is. At least we got rid of their entrenchments with those attacks. Okay, so back to England. What do we want to do? These guys are entrenched at level 3 in the mountains. Yeesh. Attacking with armor is not going to yield a great result. Alright, what if we... Alright, so these guys are going to attack this anti-aircraft unit. Our tanks at Cambridge will as well. Then they'll attack west against this British infantry unit before advancing. This infantry unit will move into Cambridge and knock that enemy unit out. This infantry unit will move north and attack west here just to the south of Manchester. Our heavy tanks at Birmingham will attack along this line as well. These Panthers will move north, destroying this British fighter unit in the process. Can these guys move? And they can't scoot and shoot at the same turn. Okay. Let's move these special forces this way. We'll move these mechanized troops toward Norwich. Okay. So we can't hit there, but we can bomb Norwich. We'll draw off some of the Allied interceptors. I can't hit him because we don't have the range. So we'll continue to bleed off interceptors. My real goal is this American unit here. I want to destroy them if I can. Alright, enemy interceptors. Hopefully we have our own escorts. Hopefully they don't do too much damage to this guy. They don't, so we reduce the entrenchments by 1. We can't hit Birmingham, so we'll continue to hit Norwich. We'll continue to engage enemy interceptors, which come up against us. Wow, that was kind of a bloody day for our bombers there. These guys still can't reach that far. How many fucking interceptors do the Allies have? Actually pull this guy back. Move the 14th Army forward and destroy the British at Norwich. This army can take Norwich, and then attack this American bomber unit. Our own fighters will get on the act. Get some strike exercises in. And destroy the American strategic bomber asset north of Norwich. Nice. Alright, so Norwich has fallen. We've turned not turned the flank, but we've at least secured that eastern coast here. Let's see here. These guys bombed. These guys bombed. These guys did not. Nobody can reach the targets I want them to hit. This guy can, because I just upgraded him to level 3 bomber. So it should reduce the defensive fortifications here down to 2, or actually 1. It does. This guy reach? Nope. Can this guy reach? Nope. Alright. This tactical bomber can, and we've already bled through all of the enemy escorts. Apparently there's an American battleship off the coast here. Interesting. Well, now that we've destroyed their fortifications, go ahead and attack with this armored unit. And destroy them. There's no town there, is there? They're just dug in on the mountains? Huh. Alright, so he already attacked. We'll move here. This guy's going to reinforce. He can only do 1 reinforcement, really. Alright, these guys will move to Bristol. I think we'll reinforce this heavy tank unit that's in London. He's already in Reading, so move him up toward Birmingham, I think. Actually, this guy already attacked, so we'll pull him out of Birmingham. Then we'll move this headquarters unit to Birmingham. So we've got headquarters units in Bristol, Reading, Birmingham. There's no point in attacking that American battleship because we can't. Reinforce our own fighters on the coast. All right, this guy can't attack any of that, so he's going to fly across the channel. This guy will also fly across the channel to be closer to the front. Move some of our fighters that way. I think we'll reinforce our other fighters. We'll upgrade this guy to ground attack 3, level range 3 bombers. Wow, he got some. I don't even know which bomber that is historically, but that's a pretty cool graphic there. Alright, so that's going to do it for those guys, I think. Move these guys back over to the coast over here. I want to get them on transports. We'll reinforce these subs. Can we send these guys after the battleship? We can. They're getting contacted with enemy subs. British submarines as ASW? That's interesting. Okay. Alright, so we can't move him again, unfortunately. We can't hit those subs either. Lame. Motor torpedo boats, move these guys back into port so they can rest and replenish. And we'll have to deal with that battleship next turn. But all of that being said, I think we're about done with our German operations against England this turn. Hopefully in the next 2 turns we take Manchester, maybe 3. After that, then we'll have either 8 or 7 turns left to drive north against Edinburgh as the peninsula, or not peninsula, but the island becomes narrower and narrower for us as we drive north. Well, the other alternative is that the British could end up surrendering completely by that point. Because if we look at their actual national morale of England right now, they're down to 14%. So the continued losses and casualties in cities falling to them has caused their morale to continue to fall. And we'll have to see how that plays out. But that's the situation in Germany, situation in North Africa. Great, that tank unit can't withdraw. Situation in North Africa is pretty safe, I guess, is maybe the right way to describe it. Not a lot going on there. Let's see, can we reinforce these guys? No. So we've got 8 for them, 8 for them. So we'll go ahead and move them into the Atlantic this turn, the Italian destroyers. That moves us across the North African coast, where there's nothing really else to report. And then, let's see here, this paratrooper unit can move here. Mechanized unit can move in behind this South African corps and destroy it. So we just destroyed a South African infantry corps here in this area here, and we can move some infantry forward here to Berba, and hopefully the Syrian army and this German corps as well can reduce Berba and take British Somaliland for us, and then we'll be able to move our troops south. Meanwhile, we'll continue to reinforce these troops in Nairobi, give them a little bit of a break. And I guess with the destruction of that unit, we can move this headquarters unit further south. See if we can ever get those guys. Can this? We don't have a railway that far. So what we could do here is we could go ahead and rail this Iraqi garrison unit to Khartoum. Then we can go ahead and rail this unit here in Jerusalem to Cairo. March this unit in Damascus. March these guys to Damascus. And this army unit here. I'm kind of tempted to invade Saudi Arabia as well. And go for Medina and Riyadh and whatnot. Just to gain a little bit, conquer another country, I guess. We're going to go ahead and... Let's see, where's the partisans? So the unit in Cancun, go ahead and put them on transports. And we're going to move them to Australia for the Japanese. But first, we need to go ahead and get these guys ashore. Get these other units here, the 14th Army. Okay. This amphibious force. Fuck! Alright, we'll get the 34th Army ashore. So we might lose the Marine detachment over there. But all in all, most of the troops transporting from India made it safely. We'll probably lose the 1st Kerr SNLF force, unfortunately destroyed. But the other guys all should make it. Meanwhile, we'll continue moving this headquarters unit south from Alice Springs. Troops are driving on Port August. And should take that city next turn unless the Allies move troops there. In the eastern coast of Australia, you can see here it's raining. The British are, or not the British, but I guess the Australians are using the weather to their advantage as they attempt to perhaps advance from Karnas against us. Why can't they hit these guys? What's the weather there? Is it storming? Not sure. In any event, we can't hit them. Okay, so we destroyed that unit, which was advancing from Normanton against our troops here. So that's a good result. Move that headquarters unit a little bit further out from daily waters. Destroy that British unit here near town or west of Townsville. Move these guys into long reach and continue marching these guys south. Okay, so we took long reach. We're just shy of August and Australia. Can these guys move against? There's a large American contingent here building up just north of Sydney by the looks of it. Paratroopers, Australian infantry, American infantry. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be able to take Canberra, especially now that the rainy season has kicked in. I don't know what we're going to do there. Maybe once these troops kind of make it south. I'm hoping perhaps maybe they're stripping troops out of Rockhampton and Townsville. We can kind of swing in here, hit them from the rear. All right, these guys have low supply. We've got a bunch of new units here. They can't rail anywhere, though, because there's no real rail line until we get to Normanton. We need the rain to lift. The interior provinces aren't hit by rain, but the coastal provinces are. Alright, so that's that. For those troops, I guess for these guys, we'll stick them on transports. Move these guys to Tijulap, because again, Tijulap's to the west of the American subs. This headquarter unit here. I'm going to take a risk and move them adjacent to Tijulap. But they're not in a port, so they will be a little bit vulnerable. The Gizdapam. These troops here also going to move that way. And Goa, they can't load up because they're not coastal. Alright, so we'll keep moving these guys back toward Germany and the Italian provinces. These Asanala forces coming this way. Move this Marine force south in an effort to reinforce our troops near Sydney. We've got enough headquarters units there to support a lot more troops than we have there. Meanwhile, these amphibious forces are going to move south toward Truk. Okay. The coast of New Guinea. These routes appear to be free of molestation of American submarines, which is good for us. Jaina there. Into the Marianas Islands. I don't think they'll all reach next turn. Meanwhile, the remaining American destroyer, which lingered, just got destroyed. Haha, we destroyed the destroyer. Alright. American sub. Do we have to upgrade this to get its ASW down? Let's go ahead and reinforce the carrier hull first. What's their current properties here? Yeah, ASW is something you have to research or upgrade a ship to, so we'll get these destroyers into port and do that. This carrier's in port. Get their air wings up to snuff. Okay. All right. There we go. So we'll get those naval units all moved around. Pull that sub back. Did this guy move at all? Yeah, he did. Okay. So I think that's going to about do it for this turn. Turkey did join the war. We didn't look at them yet. What do they bring to the party? Turkey actually has a reasonable strength. The battle cruiser here, I believe, is the Gubin, which could be useful actually against the Allies. And meanwhile, they've got a few army units here that are raised here in Anatolia. Actually, this is a good visual into why Turkey would be a valuable asset for any side in this game. They have, what, 1, 2, 3 corps of infantry, 2 armies of infantry, 3 garrisons of infantry. These are not terrible units, so we'll spend some money upgrading these guys, getting them up to maximum, our current maximum technology. And we'll figure out what we want to do with these troops now that they're on our side. Okay. Upgrade the corps in Istanbul. Garrison here. I mean, I don't really think we can fit them in the British Isles. It'll take a while to get to Africa, so we may not end up using them. The battle cruiser we'll probably end up using. I guess we could try and take Crete with them. That would be kind of interesting. At least not fighting over, is it Cyprus that Greece and Turkey still fight over today? But yeah, I think that's going to about do it for this turn, guys. I don't really have anything else that I need to do. We've done what we can do in England. We've done what we can do in Australia. These troops can't reinforce yet. The American Navy, they were down to 20 last turn. They're back up to 21 this turn. National morale of Britain is 13. The United States is 30 as they free fall, as they continue to lose heavy assets. Most of these guys can't reinforce. These paratroopers can, so we'll go ahead and reinforce them. Some of these, I don't think these air units can. Yeah. This corps just came ashore. Let's move them north. Actually. Move these guys to England since we can. We'll bring one more unit in. Okay. Alright, so that's the first non-German unit that's now in the campaign against the British. And, yeah, I think that's going to do it for this episode. We'll see how things play out next time as we move into October and move down to about 8 turns remaining. But for the moment, things are going well in England. Things are kind of stagnating in Australia. I'm a little bit worried about the buildup of Allied forces against us, but we'll have to see what we can do to stem the tide. That being said, this is the Historical Gamer saying once again, thank you very much for watching, and until next time, I'm out.